Good morning, everyone. How are you? See this? It says, "You've got this." I don't know if you've seen Leonie. It's a woman I was following years ago in 2014 when I started. She's got beautiful artwork, and she's empowering women all around the world from Australia. I can leave her link. She's a awesome woman. Anyway, what you doing today? Sometimes we need these little messages and just to see something that it inspires you. And so I'm here today. I'm here to inspire you, to empower you, to encourage you. Just, each day is a new day. And we've got so much to look forward to. I'm a type of person, my cup is always more than half full. It's more than, it's I'm a very optimistic person, and so no matter what's going on, I believe the best is yet to come. I believe that we have the power inside of ourselves. I have the power inside of myself to make things better, right? And so I'll give your heart a tug this morning, and just if you need to hear these words, I can shout them out, or it can be a little whisper, and just let you know how beautiful you are, how strong you are. And that you just have everything inside of you. We have everything inside of us that we need to be the women we need to be, and the thing is, a lot of times we have fear, and we're holding on to things for so long. We hold on and hold on to relationships. We hold on to dreams that we just, for some reason, something right now, it's not where we need to be or can't be. And sometimes we have to release, we have to let go, and those things, they may come back to us again. They may, it might be something that we are supposed to be doing, but maybe we have to just let it go for right now and start with something else. If you've been trying so hard and working so hard to get something, maybe it's not right now. It's supposed to be there. So work on something else, and then if it comes back to you, right? If it's something that you really are supposed to be, things, you'll get stronger in the meantime. You'll get stronger and you become wiser, and you'll learn new things so that when that opportunity does come, that we are ready. We are ready for it. What are you holding on today? What is it that you're not letting go of? What is it that you keep in the back of your mind, and it's like, I need to work on that, but it's not doing exactly so. To work on something, another part of your life for right now. If it's, we keep wanting to lose weight, we keep wanting to do things, and become stronger. I want to write a book. I want to do this. I want to be out and travel. But we have to, each day we take our step closer to that goal, but we may not be able to get there today. So we just keep going closer and closer, and we might have to pause. We're on a bridge and we pause and we're looking out, and it's like, maybe I can't continue that way. Maybe I have to turn around and stop for a minute. Maybe I have to go back and bring something with me that I've learned from there and become a little bit more knowledgeable with that, right? What is it today that you've got to take? If you took a notepad out today and you started writing down your step. Imagine drawing a crazy circle, and it's like a labyrinth. Can you imagine going through that labyrinth, and it looks crazy and you're scared and you don't know where you're going, right? But our labyrinth of life is like that. I've had crazy, all my life has been like that. It's like a labyrinth. When I started, when I was younger, when I was little, I was raised and born into a Mennonite family. My parents were very, very conservative. My mother wore a covering. I wore a covering when I was younger too, right? I got baptized when I was 13 in my Mennonite church. It was just sprinkling of water. I know sometimes you go right down in the water. There's different ways, but so that was and then I had the sprinkling of water, and I accepted Jesus into my heart, and I believe and trust and love Jesus, and believe in something, a higher power than me. My life has changed a lot. My faith has changed a lot since then, but I still believe in God. I believe Jesus was the Son of God. I believe that we have so much, right? But it's God sent Jesus here for some reason, but he sent me too. He sent you for a reason. There's a purpose for all of us. And we all are shining brighter every day and becoming stronger and wiser. And, everything that we've gone through has brought us to right now in this moment. But that labyrinth, I kept walking and going through, and I was epileptic as a child until I was 18, right? And my last seizure was when I was 13. But, something that I had to turn a corner in my life. I outgrew it, or it was a miracle. I believe a miracle. God healed me, right? And then I rebelled a lot, and I was in this Mennonite family, and I became stronger, and I was a dropout at school. I was unfortunately, for some reason, I was a dropout. I didn't want to go to school anymore. I didn't feel the need to. My mom was always like, you're going to get married, you're going to have a husband, you're going to be, things were much different back there. The way that we were raised and the way we thought things were going to be today is nothing like what we expected, right? But, and then I turned that corner, and I ended up being on my own for a while, and then I got married, and I married a Punjabi man, and I was married for 30 years, and I have 2 beautiful children. But during that time, after I had my children, then I decided, well, I worked in retail for like 10 years. It was like after that time, it was like I need to do more, and so I started volunteering, and I volunteered in different offices, and I really liked being at the reception. I liked being on the computer, and they said, you're good with people. Why don't you go and get a certificate? You'll be able to get a nice job. So what I did is I went back as a mature student to Sheridan College, and I got a certificate. I took executive office administration, and I was able to do temping, and I worked around a lot of different offices for a while, and then finally I got a contract job with a region, and I ended up getting a really nice job. And then I ended up because I was with Apple One, and so I ended up I'm applying for a job for myself and getting myself into my own job, not as a temp, but as in my own job. So I did get a contract, and I ended up getting a few different contracts on my own without Apple One, and so I stayed there, and so I was there for years, and then I ended up getting sick and disabled for a bit because I went through a lot in my marriage, being married to a Punjabi man, and then we sponsored his family. We brought over his siblings, and we brought over his mom and dad, and it was a big change, and that's a big responsibility for anybody that's ever done that. I wanted to help my family. I know how important my family is, and so I sponsored and helped bring them over, and I'm happy that they're here, but I wish things would have changed, and it took a lot from our relationship. It hurt my relationship with my husband at the time, and we ended up in a divorce, and it was I went through a lot of things with that. Sometime I can talk about that, but that was another corner that I turned, right? And then I started listening at that time to Louise Hay and to Wayne Dyer, and I saw Leonie, and I was listening to more women. I had this beautiful friend that lived across the road. Her name was Peggy. I still got her bracelet. She's passed now. But she was very important to me. I used to go over and spend time with her and watch TV. We'd watch Downtown Abbey on, and have her tea and visit. And another very dear friend, she's like a second mom to me, Helga. She was the same age as my dad, but she liked going out for walks. She liked going to the restaurants. I had always older friends, that encouraged me, inspired me. And so I want to be that for you. But these women in my life helped me turn that corner. These stronger people in my life that empowered me. And I never had a big sister. I never had really somebody close in my life that I could look up to like that. My mom, she was Mennonite, my aunts, and I didn't get that kind of support from them because they needed that and they didn't have it. But I kept going through, and I struggled, and I was naive, and it took me a long, long time. I was breaking off, and I was in a chrysalis, and I kept breaking off and tearing off and pulling off, until I became a different version of myself. And it's like each time it took that off, another prism of me was shining brighter, It's like that golden Buddha right inside, and then finally that clay comes off, that chrysalis layer comes off, and we're shining brighter, you know, and another layer, and we're shining brighter and brighter and brighter. And so I had to keep letting go. I had to keep letting go of those limiting beliefs. I had to let go of the critical thought, you know, what I believed other people. I believed what my religion, what my parents, what other people, what I saw in their lives, that it was like they were farmers, they were maybe other people that were in my life, and I thought those were supposed to be the ones that I was supposed to be like, right? No, but it was always like, that's not what I want. I still believed in God. I still believed my faith was very important. But, you know, and to raise my children and have that and go through that, you know. And, you know, my daughter, she had cancer. That was another corner that I turned on. And I lost a baby. I lost a baby after full term. Got meconium in his lungs and he couldn't breathe. And it was sad. You know, he was on a respirator and he couldn't breathe. And I had to choose to let that, he couldn't breathe. Anyway, it was a very, very sad, traumatic time for me. My mother was there with me. I was holding him. He was in his little blue blanket. And I was holding him. I gave him to Mom to hold. You know, Mom lost 2 of my siblings too, and she never got to do that. So she was right there with me, holding my baby, Grant, my beautiful little boy. He was a big boy, but for some reason, it wasn't his time. His spirit is with God. But he is not here. He is with God. He has another purpose, right? But for a moment, he was with me, with us. You know, and we had to let him go. You know, he was having seizure after seizure. He was, he just, you know, it wasn't his time to be here. Anyway, so, but that was another part of my labyrinth that I turned. You know, there were a lot of things in my life that I had to work on, and you know, I was, because of all the things I'd gone through, all the stress, all the things in my life, I ended up with being my worst enemy and having a lot of issues anyway that I had to work through. You know, and then after the divorce, I started finding and cracking away and becoming stronger and listening to what I really wanted, and all those whispers, all the things that in my brain that I used to think, well, I can't do that, you can't do that, you're not smart enough, you're right, you're not. I started believing and trusting myself again, you know, and this Kintsugi woman started shining brighter, you know. It's like she broke through the chrysalis, she broke through the clay, she broke through and started becoming and being, and I'm still becoming and being. But I turned another corner, and that's when I really started writing and started believing and trusting. I took courses, I took coaching, I took you know, listening and reading and watching YouTube videos, and I was connecting more with other women, and I had my church still, but I had a bigger part of me I was letting out there. I was shining brighter and stronger, you know. And so I became a coach. I became a much more than I ever imagined, you know. And so after a while, I believed in myself, and I never thought that I would be in another relationship. I never thought that I wanted another man in my life, and I believed that I would be happy by myself. But it's funny how things turn. You know, I turned another corner and I met this beautiful man, this wonderful man, Adrian. He's a part of my life now that I just am so blessed. I'm so happy, you know, and all this time, you know, I turned and found this wonderful, wonderful part of me that I didn't know that was out there for me, you know, and I feel so loved, and I'm so blessed. But, you know, I've turned a corner, and I've got a grandmother now. I've turned another corner. I'm the editor of a beautiful magazine with a community of grandmothers across the world, over 55,000 grandmothers, 50 countries, you know, and I'm an editor of that magazine. And I'll keep turning corners, and we keep learning, we keep becoming. And it doesn't matter how old we get, we're still becoming. And we don't know where this labyrinth is taking us, and where But I've come to that, and many times I've gone to the center and I've offered up and I've given everything to God. I've given everything to the universe. I've asked, I've asked and I've wept and I've dropped down to my knees and I've asked and I please, and I needed to be healed, and I needed to let go. I needed to forgive myself and those in my life. I needed to forgive myself most of all, because I was naive and I thought life would be different. I never expected to go through the things I went through, but I had to release. I had to let go, and I shine brighter and stronger and bolder and braver. I am Kintsugi Woman, and every day I Kintsugi on. And so today, I'm just saying to you, you need to let go, you need to release. And that labyrinth of life, wherever it is taking you today, whatever corner it is that you're turning around, you're strong enough, you're beautiful, you're strong. You're my sister, we're shiny bright stars, right? We're shining brighter. But remember, you've got this. You've got this. What is it you need for yourself today? I hope that I can inspire and empower. I'm a big sister. I've always been a big sister. And I know I've seen in my own siblings, not just my sisters, I've seen my brothers too, the pain of holding on to relationships, of holding on to things that were never meant to be ours, and yet we want them, and we really want that to work, and we try, and and we hold on. I held on for 30 years of a marriage, and it didn't work. I wasn't happy there. It kept breaking me. So what is, let go of that and start and continue the journey with me. Join me in the Grandmothers and Global Grandmothers Council Network. Join me on Wednesday mornings. Join me and just let me know if you've got a story, if you're an author, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're an artist, I'm not sure, what are you doing, as a grandmother. Tell me a story. If you're a first-time grandmother, you could talk about that, what is it that you want to share. We're going through so many things and challenges, a lot of us are losing our hearing, or we've had knee surgery, we've had so many things that are going on, We've had cancer in our families, we're losing partners, we're losing our children, we're losing our parents, A lot of us feel alone. It's very different. Our life is different, right? And what is it that you have? What is it? Your voice needs to be heard. Your words need to be out there, and I would love to share that. I would love to share your story, your journey. So send it to me. I'll put our email in here, and I would love to share that in our magazine. And have a look. It'll be coming out. Our September is going to be coming up, right? And our 1 year is going to be amazing, because we're going to be sharing about Suzanne Lewis. She's the founder of our Global Grandmothers and started all of this, and it's amazing. And I have an amazing team working with me. And I am just so honored to be part of this community and grandmothers. I love them all so much, and just this experience of being and able to share my voice, and it's like my voice is being heard. And that is an amazing gift, because many of us, we haven't had that opportunity. And so now we have a vehicle, we have a program, we have a platform, and that's the Global Grandmothers Council Network. And join me. Continue this journey. As Kalina Kintsugi Woman, shine brighter, stronger, bolder, and Kintsugi on. Kintsugi Woman, take care of you. Kalina Kintsugi Woman.